Everyone, and welcome into the Q&A show. My name is Bob Theriot, and thank you for bearing with us there for a little bit. We're running just a few minutes short, a few minutes late, but with technology, you have little bugs and things that pop up. And so thank you for hanging in there with me. I'm real excited about my next guest. I've been trying to get him on here for like half a year, but the guy is super busy. And I'll talk I'll introduce you in a little while. But before I get started, if you can do me a favor, if you're watching the show live, if you can hashtag live in the comment section. And if you happen to catch the show later on down the road, if you can hashtag replay, that also tells Facebook, hey, this is important, and it shows it to more people. And we're always trying to reach more people. I'm trying to bring you talent from across the nation, but as well as from El Paso. And this next gentleman that I'm going to bring on, he has been doing a lot of great things in broadcasting for, I want to say 20 years. But like I said, you guys, if you're watching this right now, hit your like button, hit the share button, smash that heart button. All of that engagement helps us. So I really appreciate if you do that for us. And real quick, one more thing. This show is brought to you today by Success Rocket Marketing. If you own a local business and you're trying to reach more people and you want to do it digitally, go to successrocketmarketing.com, or you can give them a call at 915-314-5300. So without further delay, let me introduce you to my next guest. If you listen to the radio in El Paso for the last 20 years, you already know who this man is. He is currently the operations and sports director for Town Talk Sports El Paso, which broadcasts high school sports, and is also the sidelines reporter for the UTEP Miners radio broadcast. Let me introduce you to my friend, Mando the Monster Medina, everyone. He's coming up there. Hey, Mando, what's up, bud?
What's up, baby? How you feel?
I feel good.
What's funny is that you're talking about like the internet connections, about the audio. Wouldn't it be funny that happens to the guy that actually works in the field, that you would think that the equipment would work, but we had technical difficulties, like you said. But I thought it was pretty funny. How you been, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing good. How about yourself? You look good, man. You're always, every time I see you're buffer, you're stronger. You're not getting any younger, but you don't look older, so that's good.
Well, I mean, age is catching up to me as it does with everybody. But yeah, you're right. I like going to the gym and hanging out and doing. I like going to the gym. It makes me I guess try to keep up with those young guys up there. But I mean, I'll tell you straight up, I'm 45 years old. But I feel like I'm 25 with everything I'm going and doing, especially with all the sports broadcasting that I'm doing.
Would you,
man? Don't let me. You want me to switch this up, and I can start even you.
Yeah, do it.
It's been a long time since I talked to you, so why don't you fill me in on what's going on with you in your life? How's everything going? How's your son doing?
My son's going to be 21 next week. Well, I take that back. 9/11. Okay. And so I promised him when he was like 10 years old, I'm going to take you to Vegas. And so guess what?
Where are you going to stay? Where are you going to stay?
You know what? We're going to stay downtown because we've always done the Aria stuff and, the new strip, but I want to take him down to the old downtown. Everybody keep telling me or recommended the D. I've never stayed there. I've never stayed downtown ever. Okay.
I've never stayed downtown myself. I was in Vegas about maybe early part of July. The only thing I'll tell you, son, always double down 10 and 11. Always double down. Always. I used to be a blackjack dealer as well when I was 21 years old in Lake Tahoe at Harvey's Casino. But no, you know what? I've heard that the downtown area there in Vegas has grown tremendously, and it's you can do the zip line there. I think they've rebuilt it and they're trying to rebrand it as a big tourist spot. And the last time I went to, I'm not gonna lie to you, like the last 5 times I've gone to Vegas, I haven't had the opportunity to go downtown because I usually stay at the Strip. Last time I went, I was at the Hard Rock, but I was never able to make it out there to watch the Fremont light experience.
Yeah.
But I have done that. That's beautiful. I think he's gonna enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean,
is this his first time in Vegas, by the way?
Me?
No, for your son.
Oh, for him, yeah, he's gonna be 21. Okay. So.
All right. Okay.
Daddy's gonna break him in.
Okay, good. I mean, I like that. You take him. You're staying. You said at the D, something like that.
Yeah, downtown.
You take him there. You do the free. How many nights? So first, let's just start planning this out. How many nights you're gonna be there?
Thanks. Let me take notes here because you were a blackjack dealer. So actually, we're leaving Friday morning. So we'll be there all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day, come back like midnight on Sunday. So that's enough. I think that's enough time. Not too long.
You're coming back a Sunday night. All right. The thing, and we'll get to whatever you want to talk about in a little bit, but the thing about Vegas is that with Vegas, you just want to go to every single casino, not because, let's be honest, every single casino is exactly the same.
Right.
They all have a mall. They all have, of course, the games and things of that nature. They all have tremendous restaurants, but it's the architecture is what you want to go out there and check out at every single casino, whether it be, because every single casino's got a different theme. But that's what I love about Vegas. And every time there's something new always popping up. I know there's another, can't remember, it's I think it's the Chinese style that they're building right now. They've been building for a couple of years. So every other year it seems like there's a mega casino being built with a special theme. So all right, brother, I'm sorry. You said Vegas.
No, it's okay. I mean, I haven't been there in a while, so I was starting to get bored of it. But I think to see it through his eyes, it's going to be a little bit more fun this time, I think. And I like to play cards, so I'm not a slot machine guy.
What do you? Okay, well, I'm not going to get into it, but always double down on 10 and 11. Always
10 and I'm writing this down. 10 and 11.
Yeah,
the monster said.
And always, if he's going to sit, make sure he sits in third base. Third base is if I'm the dealer, he'll be the one to my very right. That's because you have the power. That's basically the power seat, because that guy basically decides how everybody else is what cards they're gonna get, because he's the one that determines whether or not he's gonna take the card or she's gonna take the card, and that determines whether or not the dealer will take the card.
Right. So, but you could mess up at that area too and take a card and piss everybody off.
Exactly. It's not a responsibility.
Yeah.
Then there'll be times where like you're on a table and there could be something like, for example, I was at the Inn of the Mounted Gods when I went to go see UTEP at Capridoso. We had a little time, so I went out there, had a little fun at the tables, and I was in a row. A gentleman, and I was actually at first base, which is the very one on the left. If I'm the dealer, person to my left, that's first base,
right?
Which is the seat you don't want to have. But the guy on third base was making all the right moves. But the gentleman that sat next to me just started making some crazy moves, and I had to get up and leave.
What's the most you've ever won playing in a night on a blackjack table?
See, I'm the type that if I win $100, I take it back. Like I've won like 300, but I don't bet that. See, I'm the type that like the only difference between winning $10 and $100 is how much you're betting. That's really the only difference in how much money you're making when you, because a lot of people go out there and they'll put $100 down and they'll be betting $5. I'm like, you know what? We're either gonna go home happy quickly or not. Usually, if I do that, where I just play the 100 and I win right there, I stop, and then I walk out because I'm like, hey, we got dinner money, we got money for a show or something like that. The last time I went in Vegas, that worked out for me for the first 3 days. Then the next 2 days, it didn't. The last 2 days, it really didn't. So
you know what? You have the same approach as me, because I learned early on. One time I was up like $600-$700 at the MGM. And lost it all back in about 4 hours. So now if I hit 300 or 400, I stand up and walk out. That's it.
And the funny thing is, I rarely play the slot machines. And when I did, I played I was at the MGM after the Hugh Jackman concert. Yes, I said that, Hugh Jackman concert. Anyways, I was at the MGM. Then they had that Wheel of Fortune game, and I was just looking at the slot machine. So I started playing, and all of a sudden, whenever I play the slot machines, I never get the extra stuff that comes out. But for some reason, it came out with the Wheel of Fortune. So the wheel started turning, and there was a slot where it was, I think it was 2,000. You get $2,000, and then it was like 50, and then the other one was 15. I would hit the 50 one all the time. So, and I was up like maybe $200, but I kept playing because I wanted to try to get that 2,000. But that's how they get you in Vegas. You got to know when to stop.
Right. Yeah. You have to be able to get up and walk away.
I'm happy for your son, man. It's exciting. First time going to Vegas, I didn't go to Vegas until I was 24 years old, even though I was a blackjack dealer in Lake Tahoe at 21.
Right. I was about the same age, 23, 24. Went broke. Slummed it.
Yeah. So what's up, baby?
So let's
wait. When's the last time somebody just took over and started talking over you and asking you stuff?
Uh, I can't remember, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Like reverse roles. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yes.
So, so the monster. So, you know what I've always wanted to ask you because I've never asked you. How'd you get the nickname the monster?
You want the real story or the story?
Yes, yes,
So,
the real story.
have you seen The Dark Knight? You know, with Heath Ledger
Yeah,
and he plays a joke. You know, the joke always says, you want to know how I get these cigars?" By
right.
the way, I've had that name way before that movie came out. But with everybody, I tell them a different story every single time. You
Okay.
know, but this your show is about business and things of that nature, how to get ahead, and little tips and tricks. I'll give you a business, a media thing. I don't know a lot of people really do it because when I started off in radio, I was actually 21 years old. Actually, I just turned 22 years old. So back then, a lot of people. This was 1996. Like I said, we're keeping it real. I'm not hiding it. How old I am, none of that stuff.
Right.
1996, summer 1996. A lot of people actually use fake names, because back then people wanted to protect their privacy, things of that nature. But I started in radio with the sports side. I started actually board opping. That means running the controls for the UTEP football games for the Diablos. So when you actually work in regular media, like sports, you use your more likely use your real name. So I've always used Mando Medina, but
Right.
then my other friends had like nicknames and things of that nature. So, anyways, um, the truth is that my good friend Robert Garcia, and I love Robert Garcia. Robert's like maybe 5'5" or something like that. I'm like 6'2", almost 6'3". Back then I was like maybe 260, whatever. He looked at me and goes, "Hey, you look like a monster." So I made it stick, Mando the Monster Medina, because I realized that a lot of people would remember the name Monster Medina as opposed to just Mando Medina. But when you put that Mando the Monster Medina together, that's a tip where people, you know, um, grasp and remember that name. So when a lot of people say Monster Medina, they remember the name. But if you say Mando Medina, sometimes it takes a while. But that was just a radio thing that people did back in the day. Nowadays, with social media, it really doesn't matter. A lot of people use real names now. But I still encourage all my the people I get into the media, I always tell them use a real name, because when, for some matter, if something happens that you use a fake name, or and then something you sign like a legal note or things that you sign a type of contract and they kind of buy your name, and when you try to get out of that, it happens to professional wrestlers a lot too. Because remember, I used to do wrestling and all that stuff like that.
Right.
So when somebody signs with the WWE, Vince McMahon buys the name. So if you had some nick, or they give you another name because you already had the name, and of course you're going to sign because you want to work for the WWE. So
Right.
that's
Right.
just an example. Like there might be like if you're some type of media outlet, they might, if you have a nickname, they might want to buy it, or they might want to like call yourself this. And then when you're trying to get out of that contract and you trying to go out on your own, people aren't going to remember that. So
So
I didn't have that problem because it's kind of hard for them to buy my name.
I like it. I like the name.
Thank you.
But talking about media, right? Because you've been in it so long. What are the biggest changes you've seen in it? I mean, could you imagine? I mean, you have a podcast, right? You have your own. You're the sports director of Town Talk Sports now. Could you imagine we would be sitting here doing live podcasts now, and then there's, audio podcasts, there's, Facebook podcast. I mean, can you imagine? Would you have visualized that?
I mean, in a way, yes, because of the technology. It was just getting, because I'm a technology guy. I love technology. I'm always embracing technology. I'll just tell you, like in 1996, when I did start in radio, there are the things that the millennials, or even people under 30, are not going to understand what I'm talking about. It's called the reel to reel. That was the big tape. It looked like, when you watch like Venture, it was like the big circle. It was like two big old tapes, and they recorded. Back in the day, they actually would cut and paste on that. I learned to do stuff on edit audio digitally. So that's just the way that I learned when I was doing stuff in the radio. But there's so many changes there. I mean, the technology is cut up and I, for one, I love it, because back when I first got started, and up until really, I would say like the last 5 years, if you wanted to be in any type of like media, you literally had to work either for a TV station, a newspaper, or a radio station. And nowadays, with the podcasting, the YouTube videos, all that stuff, a A lot of people are able to create their own content. The best part about that is that you don't, I mean, you still have to be careful what you put up there, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about somebody that is in a different state, or a lot of people call it corporate, things of that nature, that you have more creative freedom when you do stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff that I've seen that's changed thanks to technology. I think it's great. I think it's awesome that somebody that wants to go out there and hear their voice, because there's an audience for everything. You watch, I mean, go up there, there's so many different. What type of podcasts do you listen to, Bob? I mean, I was listening to yours. Which ones do you like to listen to?
Right now, I'm addicted to Joe Rogan
I
stuff.
love Joe Rogan. He's a good guy.
Man,
Comedians. Met him a couple of times. He
yeah,
probably does remember
awesome.
because a long time ago. But like I said, there's an audience for everybody when it comes to podcasts, and I think that's just great because and not only for YouTube, and it's people are doing both. Like Joe Rogan's a perfect example. He goes out there and he does a stand up, and then he does his show in the studio. It's a podcast, but then he broadcasts it on
Right.
YouTube. He splice it up, and it's great. I just think it's awesome that you don't have to work for a media outlet anymore
Mhm.
to get your voice heard. And of course, social media changed a lot of that, but still, the fact that a lot of people are learning how to do it professionally. You, my friend, have gotten very good at doing that stuff, and a lot of the times, people like you just self-taught. So that's the way it works. But I just love the fact that a lot of people they can go out there. I mean, it all depends. You can start cheap, but then after a while, once you start just with everything, you want to buy the more expensive equipment,
Mhm. Right.
and you go out there, you get better every single day. You practice. This is what I tell people. Like, first time you try something, you're not going to be that good. You
Mm-mm.
practice, you practice, you practice, and you get better at it. But
Yeah.
I just love podcasts, and so when you talk about Town Talk Sports El Paso, that's a perfect segue for me to just kind of tell you
Yeah.
what we do. Town Talk Sports El Paso, basically what we do, we broadcast high school sports here in El Paso, but it's on a technology. Now I can do
Okay.
it on an app. Back in the day, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, there's no way I'd be able to do that. The only way you'd be able to broadcast any type of sporting event or any type of, you'd have to it's called an ISDN. You'd have to buy specific equipment. You'd have to have a special phone line that's dedicated only for that. That's how professional teams did it. But nowadays they just use the internet, and that's one thing. So with Town Talk Sports El Paso, what we do, for people that have always wanted to do broadcasting, I teach them how to be broadcasters, and specifically we're about to start football, so I've got about 20 guys that are doing play-by-play for me, and
Wow.
they do a
So you send
tremendous
them out to
job.
all the different high schools, and
Yes. So, for
that's awesome.
example, so we're here in El Paso. Today is August the 28th. We start tomorrow. And this, we do games on Thursdays and Fridays. So I like this combining tomorrow and then Friday, we'll do about 12 games. So that means we're covering 24 schools. And I have two guys at every school, and just imagine if I can compare what John Tysher does with the UTEP radio. You have the person that's John Tysher does the play-by-play, or if you want me to relate to the people across the country that are watching this video, if you're watching an NFL football game, imagine Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, except that's what I do, except I've got one guy that's like the Joe Buck that talks, and then I got the other guy that's a former coach or a former player
The
that
color.
analyzes
He
the
does the
stuff.
color.
Exactly, the color. So
Right.
that's basically what I do. And for me, like the beauty is that I like to show people that really want to have the passion. I'll teach them how to do that stuff because I've done it for many years. But like I said, when I first started, honestly, being a Latino in this market, it was very, very hard, because back then, I mean, you had to speak, you had to sound a very specific way. And
Mhm.
obviously, if you people are listening to the way I sound, I do not sound like prototypical, like the media guy. I just don't. And I know that first time I heard my voice, I was like, that's what I sound like. And I was like, yeah, like the first time I went to, when I was living in Lake Tahoe and I had a couple of friends from Seattle, they're like, you have an accent. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have an accent. I mean, I'm from
Mhm.
Texas. And you're like, no, but you have an accent. Then when I heard my voice,
We all have an El Paso accent.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it is what it is now. I mean, it doesn't matter because there's reporters on ESPN that have like a real thick, like Hispanic accent or
Mhm.
Mexican accent, and it's okay. But I just think a lot of things have changed in the last 20 so years in media, and I think it's for the better. But at the same time, people, you got to be careful what you put up there on social media, what you say. There's still like stuff you got to be aware of.
Yeah, and also you have to be careful who you listen to, right? I mean, who you get advice from, who you're following. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So there's pros and cons to everything, but I see
Yeah, and that's like you say, the beauty and the bad thing about it is that, like I said, the great thing is that anybody can go up there and learn how to broadcast. Anybody can sign up for a YouTube channel. Anybody can create a podcast. And with that, that means there's going to be people that are going to spew hate. And we see that all the time. And then there's always going to be people that are going to be influenced by things of that nature. And stuff like that is unfortunate, but it's nature of the business. And it's real hard for us to control something like that because it is freedom of speech. After all, that is one of the big things that we have in this country. That is one of the big things that we love about being the United States of America is freedom of speech. That we can get up there and say what we feel. Other countries still kill you for that, but not the United States. We have that right. So I think that's something that's good and bad. But honestly, Bob, with everything, there's always going to be good and bad. And I mean, in any type of field, there's always good and bad. But it's unfortunate that sometimes people, and not sometimes people, let's be honest, let's be realistic. People do spew hate, and people, or it might not even be hate. It's just me, but it might be the way they think, and there'll be other people. Hey, I agree with that person. I think the same way, and it's like I said, there's a specific audience for everybody.
And you're talking about like negative comments on social media and stuff like that, right?
Well, that's different. I was talking about people that are doing podcasts and things of that nature and YouTube channels.
Oh, you're talking about the shows themselves, the platforms, or the way they're using it.
On social media, I think just a lot of people, honestly, what I think the term is called. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there,
right?
That they feel nice and safe behind the keyboard, so they feel contact. And then there's a lot of people out there that just like to they live off the negativity. It's a lot of people that, I mean, this is how it works, In the United States, we love to see you rise, but we love it even more when you fall down. And then we love to see when you go back up. But there's always going to be somebody's going to always say something negative because there's always people like that.
How did you handle it when you were early on in your broadcast career, or if you heard something negative? Now it's social media. How did you handle that? Did you just ignore it, or at first were you the type that?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I'll tell you, I just talked about my accent, things of that nature. So back then, I mean, I even because a lot of people, there's a lot of jealousy when you see a lot of people succeed. People are kind of jealous and you want to kind of put you down, so they'll get on the bandwagon. But now I would get called names, and sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you, it would affect me. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to do a thing, trying to entertain people, and they're calling me names and derogatory names. But then there was just one day where I just said, you know what, you guys, you people that are saying all that stuff, you're just jealous that I'm able to do what you wish you could do, and you're just trying to hate because you hate. And then when I decided to do that, that's when it's like it kind of opened up, and then there was no more restrictions. There was no looking back for me. I just didn't. It's like I didn't care what people thought. That's and for what we do, you got to have that type of mentality. Make no mistake. Any person that is on the radio, any person that's on TV, they have to have confidence that, hey, I can get up here and I can entertain people.
Yeah, but and you have to learn to have a thick skin, right?
Say that again.
You have to learn to have a thick skin or grow a thick skin, really.
And especially with what I did with the stuff on the morning show, especially when we make fun of people, you got to have a thick skin. But yeah, like if you're choosing to be in the public life, it comes with the territory, and that means somebody's something bad about you, but at the same time, you got to store something. Hey, what's going on, brother? Like they recognize you, they want to take a picture with you. It's good and bad of being in the public spotlight. But there's always going to be negativity. When I see the negative stuff, I just kind of laugh.
Yeah,
because it's just like. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get heated when people call up and they call me names and nobody was listening. I call back, well, come over here, maybe here. I'll be waiting for you. True story. They never showed up, of course.
Right.
So back then, it was like they're brave because they're behind the phone and I have caller ID. Now there's social media where people can make fake accounts and just go after you in that way.
And I actually remember listening to you on the TheQ morning show and thinking, you know what? They know where they're at. If somebody really was pissed off, they could actually show up to the studio back there, I mean, you had no protection, right? It was just you.
Yeah,
So
it was just us there, you know.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple of times where some guys I'd be getting into it. I'm like, hey, well, you know where the race station's at? I'm off at 10 o'clock. I'm off the air at 10 o'clock to show up
Mhm.
and see what really happens. But it's just a lot of people that they kind of get off. There's some people, like I said, that enjoy being negative and trying to bring negativity to people's life. I'm the opposite type of guy, Bob. I'm always Bob, you know me for years. I'm always one of these
Yeah.
guys that's happy go lucky. You know, I treat you the way you treat me, the golden rule. I've been like that since I was a small child. So, but I mean, but like I said, the negativity is going to come. You know, and that's just the way it is. Especially, it all depends. You have to be wary of the stuff that's going to come with whatever field you choose.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, because you talk about business, different stuff. I listen to your podcast. You know, you're trying to tell people, help people out. You know, with marketing, things of that stuff. They're always like for example, you're going to be a doctor. I mean, I have friends that are doctors and nurses. I mean, you're going to work long hours. You know, you're going to see some crazy stuff. You know, you're going to have to tell people some good news. You're going to have to tell people some bad news. You know, it's just I wouldn't be able to do that because I would start crying every time I'd have to like tell somebody that their loved one passed away. That's just me. I'm the type of guy that wears my heart on my sleeve. So that's
Right.
just the way I am. For me, it's hard to do that, but I know other people that are able to do that.
Yeah.
They're different. Like if you're an accountant, you're going to be in an office all day just working with numbers. But some people love doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not me. You know, I don't know about you, Bob. You know, I
No,
mean, but a
don't
lot
like
of
that.
people like. This is the one thing I will say because, like, since your podcast, your videos, your Q&A, it's all about doing something that's going to help you to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Pick something that you like to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing that always kind of blows me away is when I hear these kids that they're going to get a degree and they get a degree and they don't end up even working in that, you know.
The field.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Me going to work is really doesn't feel like work because don't get me wrong, it's work. I mean, putting
Yeah.
together a high school sports internet radio network is not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but I enjoy it because that's stuff that I love to do. Because I'm
Well,
bringing,
you're passionate about sports and you're passionate about broadcasting, and you just melt the two.
yeah, exactly, and it's something that's really never been done to this level because when I was in charge of the sports station here locally, the ESPN local affiliate, we kind of wanted to do like we wanted to broadcast a lot of games, but you at the end of the day you have to deal with the corporate situation there, and they got to like it's when it comes to corporates, the bottom line is the money. But with this Town Talk Sports, I mean, we can finally provide a service where I can go after like the high schools and tell them, hey, we're doing this stuff. You know, it's free. You know, you just turn on the app and then you pick your school's channel, and then you can if we're doing the game, you can hear the game. Like for example, tomorrow we have got the Via game. The people they're divided. They can start listening at about 6:45. That's when our pregame starts, and then the broadcast will probably last up until like I would say about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we have a pregame show. We talk to the coaches. We have the first half. We have a halftime show, and then we have the second half post game show, just like what you expect. Like just imagine you're listening to a college football game or an NFL game on the radio,
Right.
and that's literally what we're doing on Tom Talk Sports El Paso, but for the high school level, which is something that's really never been done to that level.
So it's an app that people download.
Yes.
Right? And they can get the app
two ways to get
anywhere.
it. It's called Town Talk Sports El Paso, and it's
Okay.
a free app, and you can get it on either the Apple Store. Well, what do they call it? The App Store.
iTunes or the App Store.
Yeah, the App Store, or you can get it on
Google
Android.
Play.
The Android. Well, I don't have an Android phone, so I don't know what it's called. But
Google
you can
Play.
get it on Android, or you can get it on Apple. That's the app. You can also listen online at towntalksportselpaso.com. Like believe it or not, the mobile experience is basically the same. You can listen to the games on your phone. They're on either on the website or the app. So it's a double, whichever you want to do. So it's available on the app on the phone. You can even listen to it on the website on your phone or tablet or computer or whatever. So
right. You can be at a game and put earphones on and listen to the game and sit in the stands.
Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's
it's kind of like it's kind of like how people have to go out there and listen to college football games or professional games. They hear the local broadcasters and they put the little headphones on and they're actually listening to. Now, but I'll be honest with you, there's like maybe like a 3-second delay, but that's how the delay is in regular radio as well. But we're internet based, which is the beauty, because nowadays, like everybody, your radio is here. It's
Right.
on your, it's on your phone. So it's an app. Everybody's got their Spotify, their iTunes, all that nature. But me, that's where the technology is going. It's broadcasting on the phone. That's why podcasts are real popular now, because a lot of people are kind of tired of you telling them, hey, you got to listen from this time to this time.
Right.
It's on demand now. And you know what? It's been happening on TV for so long. Like, I mean, Netflix, you can watch that movie whenever you want. You can watch the latest comedy special whenever you want. But now it's happening when it comes to audio podcasts. People want to listen to the show whenever they want. They don't want to wait they don't want to wake up from 6 to 10 or from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night or whatever specific times. That's the beauty of podcasts now, that technology has grown up, that you can just go out there and people can listen to it whenever they want.
Well, traditional television advertising is on a decline because you have banner ad displays that are rising, because what does everybody do? They record their favorite show on a DVR and then they go back and watch it, like what you're saying, when they're ready to watch it.
Yep.
And then when the commercials, skip through it.
Yeah. The only time you really can fast forward through a commercial is if you using like the free app on, like, for example, I mean, let's just say the ABC, NBC, or CBS app or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And you're watching on their app and you're watching the show, they have some setting where you can fast forward. Now if you have the DVR and DVR yourself, then you can fast forward. But if you're watching a specific app that you're not paying for, you're gonna have to watch the commercials, which is smart, for them. But they got to do what they got to do. But everything is changing, man. It's all digital. It's all compact now.
Yeah.
And which is, I think, is pretty cool. It's exciting. I'm just curious to see what we're going to have 10 years from now, technology wise.
It's cool that you're actually embracing it, because you've been in broadcasting so long, but there is a lot of people that don't like change. I'm sure there's a lot of people that you worked with.
Yes.
They're holding on to dear life for, like, they do not want this to succeed, and it's too late. The genie's out of the bottle, right?
And also, like, I mean, like, if somebody that wants to be in the media, it's not just one platform, because back then, like when I did radio, it was all radio. Like, I didn't have to worry about the newspaper. I didn't have to worry about TV, but I always did want to do TV, and I've been blessed enough that I've been able to do some TV. But now you got to be what they call, like, a multi-purpose media person. You gotta know how to speak on the microphone, on the radio. You got to be able to produce video. You got to write stories on the website. Now you got to be a social media savvy. You got to have your Facebook. You got to have your Twitter. You got to have your Instagram. Anything that you go out there to get your message and heard. That's just the way it is now.
Did you see the promotion for your appearance here?
I did. That was pretty cool. I like the picture.
We were Instagram stories, Facebook, Twitter, lives, LinkedIn. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the nature of the beast, And the beauty of social media that it's free. You don't have to pay for that. You know what always makes me laugh, though, is that when people are complaining that when Facebook makes a change or how something looks, or they're complaining about something on Facebook, I'm like, hey, remind me how much money you're spending to use Facebook again.
Right.
Like, what do you expect? Like, when you upload a photo that they're gonna keep it. Well, yeah, it's their site. You're putting it on them. Like in Instagram, I mean, people sometimes make me laugh.
Well, you know what, and you're right, but why it doesn't work for businesses, and I'm just going to be straight out honest because I deal with them. They're just not consistent enough. They give up way too quick. I've helped a lot of businesses grow their platforms really big, and then they're like, nah, it doesn't work. And they give up, and they're just not consistent. And you go to the gym, right? You work out. Some results are slow. Losing weight for me it's hard for me to lose weight. I got to watch every bite I eat, right? It's consistency.
Well, let's be honest, Bob. As we get older, it takes longer for our metabolism to kick in. Yeah. That's why we eat healthy. Now, when you're helping the people with the marketing, it's the same way with advertising on the radio. Like, just because somebody hears your business on the radio or on TV, it doesn't mean that they're going to go to it right then and there. That's not how advertising works. The way advertising works, for example, like let's just use Best Buy for an example, because they're on everywhere. You see a Best Buy spot, like, oh, whatever, like they sell TVs and stuff like that. It doesn't mean you're going to buy a TV right then and there. But when you do need a TV down the road, where there be a month from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, you're gonna remember, hey, Best Buy, they sell TVs. Let me go to Best Buy because I see the commercials. They got the guy in the blue shirt. They got the Geek Squad, stuff like that.
Right.
Those are the things that you remember. And then there's another way that people try to advertise, and this, Bob, with the way the market. A lot of these businesses make a corny commercial. Whether on radio or on TV, or you got the annoying salesman.
Don't get me started.
But you remember them. That's the whole point, is that you remember them. And the bottom line, when you're doing a spot, you want people to remember what you're trying to advertise or what you're trying to market. And that's the beauty of, but with people, like, I actually find those funny because I know exactly what they're trying to do.
Well, I was going to say, you've got the ear for it. I've got the ear for it, because we know when they're doing it purposeful, right?
Yeah.
But then I feel bad for the businesses that don't know that they're doing it purposeful, and that's who I feel bad for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it happens. It happens. It happens where they're funny by accident. But like I said, the way, like, for people listening to this that want to get to marketing, because it's one thing you like to help people, is that, remember, when you run an advertisement, it's not gonna pay dividends right away.
No.
For example, like somebody that's gonna buy a car, there's so many car commercials out there. It all depends which one you remember from seeing or listening to the commercial. Those are the guys that really do the crazy commercials, the wacky commercials. But for a specific item that you're trying to look for, that's why the advertising. That's how advertising really works. Is that not when you need it right then and there? Is that when you do need it a couple months from now, a year from now, you remember that place sells that service.
Right.
And that's really how marketing works. And it's a shame that you have some people that just say that social media doesn't work, because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's just another platform.
Correct.
You just have to be consistent with it, whatever you do. And I tell people, if you're going to do television, billboards, whatever, be consistent with it. Don't give up on it so quick.
I agree.
So let's talk a little bit more
about digital now.
I'm sorry?
Billboards are digital now.
Yeah.
It's crazy now.
Mm-hmm.
So they shouldn't be as expensive, but they still are.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be expensive. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Town Talk. So is this your brainchild? Is this your
I cannot take credit for this. The home offices of Town Talk Sports are in Braunfield, Texas.
Okay.
So they do about 11 schools in the Lubbock area. But then when the owner, she wanted to get into the Paso area, they went with another person. That person got a hold of me, and then they realized how the experience, and just something that I've always wanted to do. I really wasn't. I was enjoying my little severance package that I got from the radio station, corporate America. They had to make budget cuts, things like it happens. It happens, corporate America. People lose their jobs all the time.
Right.
I was able to take about a year and a half off because money I'd saved and severance packages and things of that nature. So when I was trying to get back into the media and do something, for me, this is something I wanted to do. I think it was pretty cool. Not only to show people that I can do something that I wanted to do when I was with the big corporate radio station, the big marketable station that you've heard of, but they didn't want to do it that way. So I just did it on my own with the help of these people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then you're happy. Right.
Well, that's the one thing. Here's the truth. I'm not making a lot of money like the way I was in the other radio station, but I'm happy, and happiness goes a long way.
Yeah.
What makes me sad is where people, like, when I see people put stuff on social media. Oh, I hate going to work. Oh, it's Monday, stuff like that. I'm like, quit your job, do something else.
Yeah. If you're
you don't like it, quit your job.
Yeah. Life's too short.
I'm fortunate enough that I'm doing something, and that's the one thing, because I worked at the corporate that place and stuff like that for about 20 years. So, and then the bottom line, they had to save money. That's why it was a budget cut, and that's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
But like I said, it is part of the business. Nothing lasts forever. Changes happen all the time, and people say everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, and you're still young enough, and now you're in this niche. And like I said, the bottom line is you're good at it.
Yep.
You're passionate about it.
I don't know if I'm good at it. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I try.
Experience.
Nobody's ever really good at it. Yeah.
You're good at it.
Yeah, I try to, but I'm not. I'm okay. Let's just say I'm okay at it. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, so what do you got coming up? Okay, so the season's coming up. I know you're super busy. It was hard getting you on the show. The season starts tomorrow, right? So are you going to be calling games every weekend?
No, here's the thing. I don't call the games unless I have to. I let
Okay.
my broadcasters. I've been in the spotlight before. You know, I got so much stuff going on. Like I said, I'll be on the spotlight on Saturday when I do the UTEP football games, like on the sidelines, and I got other stuff going on. But when it comes to me, you'll hear my voice and all the production, like the intros and the outros. It's time for the Town Talk Sports El Paso pregame show. Let's get this game started. Things of that nature. You hear the sponsors, the commercials. You hear my voice. But when it comes to the actual broadcasting itself, I let my guys, the guys that went out there, like with Alex Nicolas, Coach Tony Grijalva, guys that have been staples here for Town Talk Sports El Paso. They do a tremendous job, and it's not about me; it's about them. And that they have a passion to broadcast these games. Like I said, we've got about 20 guys working for us. But no, I don't. I only do the games when I have to. I'd rather be like in the control area, making sure everything is running properly.
Right.
Because like I said, I've had my time. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a couple times during the year that I'll broadcast games because I have to. Matter of fact, in a week and a half, I'll be going to Dallas to broadcast the Eastwood Troopers playing that was canceled about 2 weeks ago, but then it's back on. We'll be broadcasting the game of Town Talk Sports, and I'll be the one traveling Dallas and with one of my guys, and we'll be broadcasting the game from out there in Plano. So I still do some of the broadcasting.
How do you get the word out about Town Talk? I mean, I knew about it, but where do people see it? How do you, how do you promote it?
So, but for me, what works for me right now is social media.
Okay.
And then I partnered up with a couple of radio stations, so they're going to help me get the word out, doing trade, things of that nature.
Right.
See, it's hard because for what I do, you got to remember, too, it's something that nobody's ever done before. So I have competition. I have competition from, obviously, the other sports station and then also the TV stations, because the TV stations, they have their own highlight show, because that's what it is. It's a highlight show.
Right.
Like at the end of the night, every Friday night, they show highlights. So
yeah, it's not live.
No, they're gonna they're not gonna want to advertise my stuff, because my stuff is is live, like you said. Like, we're not pre-recorded, we're not taped. Everything you hear on the Town Talk Sports El Paso app when the games are going on is 100% live, because that's the only way we can do the games. There's no way. It would take too much effort for me to record the games and then try to broadcast them like an hour later. There's no way. Everything we do has to be live. So that's the difference. We actually do the broadcast of the games live as opposed to everybody else. The other radio station, they might do on Ron Rob, like a kind of like a check-in show, like, hey, let's check in here. What's the score? Well, okay, let's move on to the next guy. What's the score in that game? With me, you can just stay on one game and listen to the entire game, because we're not moving to a different game. If you want to hear a different game, you have to pick a different channel. And the way it is, when you open up the Town Talk Sports app, it's you get the school districts, and then you pick the school district you want to go to, and then all the teams pop up, and then you just click on the team, and it's easy as that. Then the player, if you're on Apple, the player loads automatically. If you're on Android, you just have to push start. As long as you know when your game is supposed to start, you can listen to it. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. And that helps a lot too, because of course El Paso, it's a military town, so a lot of the times the parents are out of town. So we've had people listen to our app, our streams, the website all over the country because of the military, because especially like you got the schools in Pebble Hills, Montwood, that area, El Dorado, of course, Chapin, Irvin, Parkland. A lot of their parents in the military, they're out of El Paso, so they can listen to it. And that's the beauty, and it's something that the one thing I tell a lot of people why I wanted to do it, because one of the things that always made me happy is that I'm junior. My name is Mando Medina Jr. So for me, it was actually cool when they heard my name that my dad was actually to hear his name too on the radio. So that was one of the things that I always liked. And I'm not gonna lie, it's like one of the things that gave me pride is that, hey, my dad is listening to his name every time they say my name as well. So when it comes to this, the kids, I just want to give a spotlight for the kids. So, because the mom and dads, whenever they hear their sons or daughter's name, because after football we move on to boys and girls basketball. So we're not just focusing on the boys sports. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, we're barely starting, so it takes baby steps. My vision for Town Talk Sports El Paso is that we broadcast volleyball games on Tuesdays. We do football games on Fridays. And then when we get into soccer, we do soccer, boys and girls soccer. We do boys and girls basketball already. Hopefully, we do also boys and girls softball. Love to do any sport. And there's another thing, like for the kids that want to get into broadcasting, I want them. I would love to teach them because I wouldn't mind them being the one doing the play by play. If they want to learn, I'll
Right.
teach them. That's the
Like an
beautiful.
internship or something.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, like you talk about technology, there's a couple of schools that do it. Eastwood High School here in El Paso, they're one of the ones that actually are doing video production. They don't have the play-by-play down yet, but they're doing video production,
That's
and
cool.
they're one of the ones that it's like I said, when we're going to high school, there is no way we're going to learn any of that. Even like the basic radio stuff, you have to actually go to college to learn that stuff.
Right.
TV production now, the audio production now is just amazing nowadays.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool to hear.
You notice how I talk a lot? Just like you got to stop me, man. Because I would just keep going and
It's
going.
all interesting. It's all interesting. It's all good stuff.
When you do a talk shows, like because I've had so many talk shows, like you're just so used to going and talking and talking.
Right.
And so you're gonna have to stop me, man. Stop me whenever you want, or else I'll just.
Well, if you listen to my other podcasts, I can talk forever. I'm actually putting limits on myself.
Yeah.
So this is my opportunity to bring people on like you. And I really, when I started the Q&A show, was like, I want to showcase local talent. There's people that are staples here. You're a staple for broadcasting in El Paso, Mando, for a long time, and you're still in the game. It's different.
Well, it's funny, I don't like I said, I'm 45 years old, so I don't consider myself old like that. But when
I'm older than you,
for me, like I like that I've been. For me, I've always when I was growing up, I wanted to be an entertainer, whether it be an actor or TV or something like that. So the fact that I get to entertain people, that's good enough for me. But I like it that people like me as opposed to not like me. That's always cool. But I don't know about this staple stuff, but I mean, I just appreciate the fact that my work has been appreciated for here in the El Paso Southwest area.
Well, being in the industry for over 20 years, that makes you a staple in my book. So
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem. So let's talk real quick because we can go on. You and I can talk forever, and I'm going to have you back on the show. But let's touch on it real quick. So, how do you predict the Miners are going to end up doing this year?
They're going to win. Well, I mean, they're going to ask me about Saturday. The thing about the Miners is that this team last year they had a brand new coach with Coach Dana Dimmel. Mm-hmm. That means brand new coaching staff. That means that to learn what their players are good at, what they're not good at. And even at that, the Miners have only won one game in the last 2 years. So they to say that they're one of the lower tier schools record wise, it is what it is. But last year they really should have won about 5 games. It just things didn't bounce their way at the end of the season or at the end of the games. But this year, it's the second year. He's got different recruits. The quarterback, Brandon Jones, confident guy. There's a big difference that I've seen so far from this UTEP team as opposed to I saw last year. I think a lot last year, the guys was a new system. This year, guys are used to the system. They got a lot of local talent. You're going to have they have 4 running backs, and 3 of them all 4 of them are going to play, and 3 of them are from El Paso, which I think is huge, and they're all going to get playing time. This team's going to be it's going to. But I think they're going to surprise some people. Realistically, I say they can win about 5 or 6 games.
Okay.
But
it all better than last year, right?
Oh yeah, I mean last year they won 1 game, but
right.
So many. The biggest thing is that UTEP had a lot of injuries last year. Like I mean, a lot of injuries.
Right.
It was crazy. Every game they played 12 games. Every game they had a different offensive starting rotation because there was always some guy healthy. Now, if you want to be longevity and you have a good season. It's better if your offensive line, the same guys are starting every single game. So this team was hurt. The one thing I will say from this year to last year, a lot of the guys are healthy this year, and they're confident that I think they're going to do good this year. They're going to surprise a couple of people.
Okay. So let's switch to your beloved Cowboys.
Yes, Dallas Cowboys.
So I saw some rumors around going that Zeke left to the Raiders, which is fake news. But
Is that your team? What?
no,
What is your team?
I'm a Saints, the New Orleans Saints.
The Saints.
That's right. So how do you think the boys will do this year?
The Cowboys, you just don't never know, because the years that they're supposed to do good, they do bad, and
right.
the team, the year that you think they're going to do nothing, they do real good. I mean, I don't know. I mean, realistically, with Zeke, are they a Super Bowl contender? Yes, without a doubt, they are.
Right.
Nobody can deny that. They're one of the youngest teams in NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You got great defensive line. You got DeMarcus Lawrence.
Youngest team with a lot of experience.
Yeah, you got Jaden Smith, and you know what? You have Dak Prescott there that's getting better. And by the way, that people complaining that how much money he's going to, the crazy thing about Cowboy fans, because you got those Cowboy fans that think they know and Cowboy fans that have no idea.
Right.
And let me give an example, because they're all here like, oh, I don't think Dak is worth the money. He hasn't really done anything. But then you look at Carson Wentz from the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz is making about maybe, I think, like $30 million or something like that.
Right.
And Dak wants more money than that. But there's a perception that Wentz has done a lot more. But when you look at it, Dak, for his first three out of he's led the Cowboys to 2 NFC East championships, and Carson Wentz has led them to 1. Dak Prescott has taken him to the second round of the playoffs. Carson Wentz hasn't even played in the playoffs, so that's a big difference when you look at that. So if you're Dak's agent, you're like, and there's a fly, that's why I'm making that noise. That way, if you're Dak's agent, he's like, look at what he's done. He's got to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years that he's been the quarterback of this team. He's taken to the second round. Carson Wentz, yeah, they won NFC East championship, but he hasn't played in the playoffs because he's always injured. That's what people don't understand. With Zeke Elliott, Zeke is the last couple of years the highest rusher in the NFL, and I see both ways when you look at the situation, because in Zeke's eyes, he's going to get the ball more than anybody in the National Football League, because the Cowboys are going to use him, because
he's a workhorse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's afraid that, and he's got 2 years on his contract, and that's why I see Jerry like, hey, you got 2 years in the contract. But at the same time, Zeke's like, hey, yeah, but I don't want what happened to me happen to DeMarco Murray, where DeMarco Murray was like that. And then when it's time in his contract, you decided to let him go somewhere else, and he went to Philadelphia, and now he's not even in the league. I think he's the coach in Arizona or something like that.
Wow.
Think about how quickly that was.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I see where Jerry's looking at it, like, hey, you have a contract, 2 years left, things of that nature. It's a business. It's total business, because the NFL, the coaches and the coaches and the owners think that they're not getting what they paid for their investment. They'll get rid of you just like that. Look at this, Brian. But at the same time, I understand why Jerry's upset, because Jerry went to bat for Zeke when all the bad stuff was happening. And that's another thing, character, like Zeke's been, have an off season where your character's not being questioned, out there, like you're not making use for the bad reasons. He talks about Terry Jones disrespected him. Hey, how about every time you do something that's questionable, that doesn't disrespect the Dallas Cowboy organization?
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, I think Jerry was a little bit hurt that he went to bat for Zeke, and he tried to get the commissioner fired. Remember that? Think about that. He tried to get the commissioner fired because he wanted to spend his number on running back, and now Zeke's trying to punk him and tell him, hey, you know what? I want more money. It's a very delicate thing. It's just business of the NFL. There's a lot of money. It's money that I would never, because you and I are like, yeah, I'll take whatever they're offering me. But when you get to that, when you're at that level, when you're dealing with a lot of that money, it's totally different.
And last week, I interviewed a former punter for the Baltimore Ravens. He played for 3.5 years, and he was saying he played just the average. That's the average now for an NFL player is 3.5 years, and he says NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. If they don't get their money and they get hurt or they're workhorses, that's it. Their career's over.
It's the highest paid part-time job there ever is, any type of professional sports. Yeah. Unless you're a guy like Brady
And Breeze.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to be a special breed. The
Yeah.
third string quarterback is always the best. You just hold the clipboard and that's the way to go.
The backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So real quick, I'm gonna
Yes, sir.
ask you your URL for Talktown. What is that URL? Because we're gonna put it in show notes so people can go to it.
TownTalkSportsElPaso.com.
Talk.
TownTalkSportsElPaso.com.
Okay. So if people want to start tuning in tomorrow, download the app.
Yeah,
Listen
or
to
listen online. Yes, it's a free app. Town Talk Sports El Paso. It's a free app on Android or Apple, or you can just go to the website towntalksportselpaso.com.
We'll put that in show notes too,
I
Mando.
appreciate that.
And before I let you go, I'm going to ask you like 4 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You don't have any time to think about it. Okay.
All right, go.
Ready?
Yes.
Favorite wrestler?
Hulk Hogan.
Favorite alcoholic drink?
Jack Daniels. That's
Straight?
not even hard, man.
Straight?
Yeah, straight. I'll do it straight, no ice, no nothing. Sometimes with Coke. If it's not Jack, it's Coke. But then I go from Jack and Coke to Malibu and Coke.
Oh,
crazy,
okay.
right?
That's all right.
Yeah. Actually, it's Jack and Diet Coke.
I think I know this one, but favorite superhero?
It's actually Batman.
Is it?
Yeah, even though I don't know if you can see it. Like
I'm gonna say Wolverine.
Even though he's right there, I just do that. People say I kind of look like the dude.
Okay, so Batman. I want to clarification.
Wolverine is number 2. Yes.
So, what's your biggest vice? Weakness.
That's a tough one. Like stuff that gets on my nerves.
Or no, something that you're like
pizza.
Pizza.
Yes, something I finally got advice, like something that kind of like my kryptonite, right?
Right.
Pizza. I love pizza.
So you're addicted to pizza, but
I am. I ate pizza last night. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love pizza.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your vice?
My vice?
Yeah.
Diet Coke.
Yeah. I like Coke Zero. I like
Diet Coke better.
I like Cherry Coke Zero. I like Diet Dr. Pepper. Diet Coke really
doesn't do it for you.
I mean, no, not really.
No, I hate Diet Coke.
The flavoring and the sodas has come a long way as well. I mean, just to be honest, not healthy, but hey, YOLO, eh?
That's all I have. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. The only vice I have is Diet Coke.
Yeah.
So last one, favorite movie.
Oh, that's too tough. There's so many. That's
what pops in your head like this though.
I like The Dark Knight. I'm a superhero guy, so I love all the superhero movies like Last Avengers that came up. But then I do
think the Christian Bale Batmans were the best of all time.
I'm gonna disagree. I think a good job. I think Ben Affleck in Batman versus Superman was
really
of all time. Oh yeah, because he played him exactly the way he's supposed to be in the comic book, where he's dark. I mean, the thing. Let me get into that a couple of seconds, and this totally off rail. These comic book fans, they don't know what they want because everything's too campy. Okay, so they do something dark, and then you got a guy like Zack Snyder, who's the director, is like, okay, I'm gonna give you really the way the comics should be.
Right.
And in comics, Batman's a very dark character. He's never happy. He's always in a bad mood, and that's exactly how Ben Affleck portrayed him in the first Batman versus Superman. Then when the fans overreacted, they made him like a lighter character in Justice League, and now to the point that Ben Affleck isn't even doing it. You got Robert Pattinson doing it, which is crazy, but it is what it. I'll give him a shot. I don't know how he's going to do.
So the guy from the vampire movies is going to be the new Batman.
He went from being a sparkly vampire to being the Dark Knight. How crazy!
That's going to be really interesting.
Hey, buddy, you know what? I have learned not to judge.
Right. Until it comes out, right? You see it?
Jared Leto was the Joker. I thought he was okay. I thought he wasn't used enough. You got what's his name?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, play Lion. Play Johnny Cash. He's gonna be the Joker. Phoenix. Phoenix. That's coming up like in October. I want to see how he does. I mean, I don't really judge when it comes to that.
Have you been to Comic-Con?
You ruined Star Wars though. What?
Have you been to Comic-Con?
The real
San Diego?
No, I want to go. That's one of the things I want to do. And notice
my brother goes every year for like the last 5 years, and the guy is like He loves it.
I need to make it out to Comic-Con one of these years. I love to. But
Yeah.
I hear you got to buy your tickets like now.
And it's like a lottery too. You have
Yeah.
to he sits there with like 6 computer screens and it's a bidding lottery.
I don't have time for that.
Me neither. It's too tough. It's too
I'll
tough.
try to get in with the media. Something like that. But yeah.
Well, Mando, it was a pleasure having you on. Promise you're going to come back on the show one day again.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. But now you got to come on my stuff, on my podcast, because
for sure.
I don't know if you can see it behind me right here where it says I'm trying to see that the name of my UTEP podcast is called Puros Miners, Bro.
Right.
And we UTEP Sports. I do that with Alex Nicolas, and then there's my Town Talk Sports thing. I got other stuff in the works, but I can't say it now. But there's other things coming up that for the people here in town. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. We'll keep everybody in the loop. The media page goes out, so whenever you want to let me know, we can do an article on it. We'll put this up in show notes. It's going to go into replay, you guys. And if you've made it to this part of the show, please hashtag replay. Hashtag replay. Share it out. Go and listen to Talktown, right? Town Talk El Paso. Town Talk Sports El Paso. Yes.
Town Talk Sports El Paso. I know it's kind of hard to say, but once you get it, it rolls off the tongue.
Download it. Download the app. Mando, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you,
have you on again, man.
You got it, brother. It's been
all right,
pleasure.
You guys, thanks for watching the Q&A show, and please like and share this out. And until next time, be safe and take care of each other. Have a good one. Bye-bye. So 61 minutes, Mando.
Cool. Yeah, I was looking at the clock.
Cool.
Yeah,
you did awesome. You did awesome, man. You did awesome,
dude.
It was cool. It's fun.
Yeah, it was real fun. It's like, it's like a podcast. You see how good I was? I wasn't even looking at you, man. I looked at you like maybe 5 times.
You did great. So the next step is we're gonna so this was episode 32.
Okay.
So we're gonna strip all the audio out of these and turn it into the Q&A podcast. So now it'll be live. It'll be on on all the other podcasts. Plus, I have my other podcasts and just getting it out there, man. Just getting it out there.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Yeah, no, appreciate you coming on. It was a pleasure, man.
Hey, man, just like super busy, man. I know sometimes you've been reaching out for a while, man. It's not that I don't get that, like, been super busy, but I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Let's do lunch one day when you get your slow time. You've got my number.
It'll slow down starting next week. This is, like I said, for me, like now for me, like I'm done. Like I'm basically done with all, because like for this week, it's a lot of production, like getting all the commercials in, the intros and the outros, having my guys pick up the equipment. Almost everybody's done that. Like the guys that have games on Fridays, they'll pick it up tomorrow. But all the heavy work has been done already, like on my point for this week, because the first week is always the hardest. After that, it's not that bad. Right. But yeah, sure, dude. We'll do lunch. I'm still looking at the camera, like I'm still looking.
So, make sure to share your stuff out this interview.
You got it, bro.
I'll share it out. I'm going to do a watch party right now, and we're going to get a lot of people. It'll be in the thousands for sure. It's pretty cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, man.
You have a good night, my friend.
All right, bro. You too, brother.
Take care of yourself, okay?
Okay. See you, brother. Good seeing you.
Bye, bud. Take care.